How does Belichick look in all of this?
Well, I think there's a lot of people that's trying to make Belichick look bad. I don't necessarily agree with that. He has a relationship clearly with Brian Daboll. He has a relationship with Brian Flores.
They both work for him.
Yeah.
Listen, here's the issue that I think people are confusing. Bill Belichick comes across as an older curmudgeon-type dude that's a bit acerbic and abrasive at times with members of the media. I've always debunked that because when I see him at a Boston Celtics game, the man could never be kinder. He can never be kinder. He's absolutely a pleasant person to go and speak to and talk to. It's just that he got a problem with people asking him about the Patriots during the season. That's all it's the media. But people mistake that to assume that he don't have relationships, and he's got a whole bunch of relationships.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I remember years ago, the great, legendary Jim Brown. He's made several appearances on my shows throughout the years when I had my own television show, quite frankly, and radio show and all this stuff. I've known Jim Brown for years, love him to death. Jim Brown has a very, very, very close relationship with Bill Belichick. And there's a lot of black players that have a very close relationship with Bill Belichick. And so this notion that, you know what, what's he doing talking about it? What's he trying to say? Or he knew, well, he's connected. So that's going to help Brian Flores' case. But in the end, I don't think it makes Bill Belichick look bad. All he was doing was reaching out and congratulating somebody. Here's what I will say. Here's what I will say. And it's the one, I can get into a lot of things because I'm very proud of Brian Flores and what he's doing, and I stand with him. We can get into matters later about the strategic portion of things, which I got questions about and stuff like that, which we will in the show. My only question is, damn, when you reveal private text messages, that makes people uncomfortable. Because when you do stuff like that, I'm just saying, you know how it is when it comes to us. And I say this, and I'll say this for. I always say this, Keyshawn, and then I'll stop. White people come to work. I've told white folks this. You come to work with a job to do every day. Black folks come with a responsibility. Because you got people in your community. You got to say this, you got to say that. Make sure you do this, make sure you do that. Texting me all damn morning, telling me what to say like they on first date. This is what black folks do. We do that with each other, and it's all love. It's all love, and I get that. But the other part about it, Key, is that when you black, they're looking for a reason not to hire you.
Yeah.
Whereas with whites, they're willing to embrace reasons to hire you.
I understand.
We understand that. And so when you show yourself to be someone willing to reveal private text messages, that is the kind of things that make people reluctant and hesitant to talk to you, and you never know. Now, this
But I don't think they were damning Stephen A. I don't think they were damning to Belichick.
All gloves is off at this point, so
I feel you.
It doesn't really matter.
For the greater
cause. For the greater cause.
I'm just talking about how Bill Belichick.
But Bill Belichick certainly would understand why he disclosed the text message.
You know Bill Belichick.
There's no phone number there at all.
Right.
Bill Belichick would text me the same thing if I was being hired.
Right.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
I mean, in fact, prior to this, I had a text exchange going on because I was trying to make sure him to get on the show about Tom Brady. Right. So, look, Bill Belichick knows a lot of people in the National Football League. He is connected to the New York Giants, regardless.
Right.
He knows those owners.
Yeah.
They were there when he was there.
Right.
They're going to communicate with people like that. Hey, what do you think? As they do their background checks, Brian Daboll coached with Bill Belichick for a short stint. He coached down in Alabama with Nick Saban. There's relationships there. There's antennas that connect.
Yeah.
So you're going to have those sort of things. Where Bill made the mistake, and he admitted to it,
confused.
He got confused.
Yeah, he thought he was talking to Brian Flores.
Next time,
Brian Daboll when he was talking to Brian Flores.
you put the last name on there and not just have Brian.
Yeah.
Right.
In the end, this is going to drag Bill Belichick in.
Yes.
Because of the depositions and all the different things they want to know.
What
else do you know other than what these text messages are?
That's where I was going.
Where are the rest of the text messages?
Right.
You know, we only seen this one. Where's the exchange from you and the New York Giants individual or whatever individual you got that information from? Maybe it didn't come from the Giants. Maybe it came from somebody else that's connected to the Giants. But it starts to have a snowball effect.
That's when discovery takes place.
And that's when the discovery part of it takes place. But as far as Bill Belichick goes, he's not egregious. He's not hiding things and playing games with Brian Flores at all. Yeah.
Do you think this will have any effect on Bill Belichick's legacy?
No.
No, wait. You don't know where I'm going with this. In a positive way. Because this botched exchange could change history. This could be a landmark moment.
What would it do to his legacy? His legacy is already written in stone. He's the greatest coach that I've ever seen.
That he was a part of changing the game in terms of the
but by accident.
rule and integrity.
But by accident, and people recognize that because it
Still
wasn't
something he could be
it wasn't
remembered
like
for.
you stood. It wasn't like you stood up or anything. You were just communicating with people within the football fraternity, congratulating a couple of one coach mistakenly.
And if Brian Flores was actually the coach that the Giants hired, he would have texted Brian Flores.
It's the same message.
He'd have did the same thing to him.
Yeah.
I Stanley believe firmly that would have took place.
Yes.
Because that's what they do. You know, I talked to a coach the other day that's currently a coach in the National Football League who's black. Called me, former teammate of mine. He said, Key, man, what you think? I said, what you want to do? He says, I don't know if I want to go do this interview. So I told him, I said, man, you need to still do that interview because you never know what might happen. Now, if you ask me, I kind of know who they're going to hire already. And he thinks he knows too. And this was way before Brian Flores. But I told him, I said, what's it going to hurt? Think Mike Tomlin for a minute. Just think Mike Tomlin. What is it actually going to hurt?
Blew the house down.
You go in there and you going to blow them away.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.